Namaste everyone.
Namaste.
Namaste everyone. Welcome to our 28th annual World Yoga Festival and the 7th International Day of Yoga celebrations. Today is our 27th day. We have only 3 more days, but all the 26 days we had a beautiful event with the support of all of you. I'm glad we are gathering from different countries. Today our moderator will be Professor K. Gopinathan Pillaji, and Dr. D.P. Shashikumar will be assisting, and Gabriel will be controlling the system, hosting from my side, and all the speakers are co-hosts, so you are able to share your screen. If you need any other help, you have to inform me within 10 minutes. So I am inviting Professor K. Gopinathan Pillai from the Shantidiri Research Institute. Gopinathan Pillaji, floor is for you.
Thank you, Dileepji. Thank you for your kind gesture. And today, as he has already pointed out, we have 5 eminent speakers, and we know that it is the 27th day of Yoga Global World Yoga Festival. And, today, we have Professor S.R. Bhatt as the first speaker. We know that Professor S.R. Bhatt, being a renowned Indian philosopher, is known to almost all the scholars and students of Indian philosophy. And he has made a considerable contribution to in the varied branches of Indian philosophy. He has published a large number of books, and at present he is the chairman of Indian Philosophy Congress, African Asian Philosophy Congress, and he was a former chairman of Indian Council of Philosophical Studies, was a former professor of philosophy in Delhi University. And I hope that because over the last several days we have seen different eminent scholars converged on this platform and discussed the various dimensions of yoga. And however, we find that the contemporary focus of yoga is mainly on certain fixed areas. Professor Bhatt will today speak on other untouched dimensions of yoga. Professor S.R. Bhatt, please make your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Gopiji, for your invitation and my introduction. My respectful pranams to Puja Guruji, to you, to Dr. Shashikumar ji, and all respected participants and audience of this wonderful webinar, which is going on for the last 27 days. India is a wonderful country with a very rich and varied culture. Our sages and seers realized that our mundane life, which is ephemeral, is full of imperfections, and it requires some remedial measures so that we can enjoy the bliss and beatitude which is the very core of reality. And therefore, our seers and sages evolved a scheme of sadhana, rigorous, methodical, systematic practice to eradicate suffering caused by our imperfection. Yoga has been one of such techniques evolved by our ancestors. But our ancestors had a holistic approach, and therefore they advocated that yoga is not to be practiced in isolation. It's a total way of life, and therefore many ingredients of sadhana are to be resorted to in a symbiotic way. So, along with the yoga, we have a supplementation by tantra, by ayurveda, and many other such measures which help us to overcome our imperfection. Yoga has been there, being theorized and practiced from the very beginning of Indian culture. We can, of course, the story of Indian culture is like this, like a book which is whose initial pages are torn out, and we don't know its beginning. But in the Mohenjo-daro and Harappan culture also, we have evidences of the practice of yoga. But it was criticized in the Vedas and in subsequent literature. There has been a long array of yogic thinkers who have enriched the yoga methodology. We have Raja Yoga, we have Hatha Yoga, we have Mantra Yoga, we have Laya Yoga, we have Japa Yoga, and so Sahaja Yoga, and so many other varieties. Even now, we have a newer and newer innovations in the yogic practices. For example, we have Mahesha Yogi's transcendental meditation. We have Sahaja Yoga of different yogacharyas. The point, therefore, is that yoga as a technique has been quite lively, has been quite popular, and also useful. It is useful for physical wellness, for mental equipoise, and for spiritual enhancement. So, we have five dimensions of our personality: the physical one, Annamaya Kosha; the vital one, Pranamaya Kosha; the emotional one or mental one, Manomaya Kosha; the intellectual one, and Vijnanamaya, and ultimately it is the Anandamaya Kosha. Ananda, that is bliss, is the summum bonum of our life, summum bonum of all our pursuits, and goal of all our sadhana. Yoga also is therefore engineered for the same purpose, and its goal is to have a perfection leading to bliss and beatitude. Now, this yoga has three etymological derivations, and all the three are meaningful and useful in their own way, but they are not alternative. They are to be used in a symbiotic way. And so if we take Churadigana, then we say Yuja Sanyamane. Yoga stands for Sanyama, control, control of the body, control of the senses, control of the mind, and control of the intellect, and ultimately control of our total mode of thinking and way of living. So Sanyama, this is the beginning of the yogic practices that we have in the Vedas and in subsequent literature. If we take another Gana, Rudadi Gana, then Yujir Yogi. Yoga stands for a collective, additive, corporate attempt to realize the goal. And therefore, in this, individual energies are to be synchronized with the universal energy, the transcendental energy. So it's a symbiosis of the Pinda and the Brahmanda, the energy of the Pinda and the energy of Brahmanda. So in religious language, you say it is a union with God, but in fact, it is to be interpreted as a symbiosis of the individual energies and the cosmic energy, because these two sources of energy are in complete harmony, in complete unison, and therefore the individual energy has to be strengthened and harnessed along with the cosmic energy. Then the third derivation, if we take Divadi Gana, there are 10 Ganas in Sanskrit language. So if we take Divadi Gana, then Yuja Samadhav. Yoga stands for samadhi. Samadhi means equipoise. Equipoise can be understood at different levels. It is equipoise of different. Sorry. Hello. Uh, Sorry. Uh, so uh, it is an equipoise, so that there is a balance and harmony in the individual life, in the family life, in the social life, and in the cosmic life. So in fact, samadhi is uh, also samatva. Samatvam yoga uchyate, so that we have a sort of equipoise at every level of our existence. Now, these three can be reinterpreted in an innovative manner in modern times. Our philosophical thinking is not like a static pond. It is like a flowing river, and therefore there has to be newer and newer innovations, newer and newer interpretations in keeping with the requirements and needs of the times. So yoga also is to be reinterpreted and revisited as per our requirements. When we say yuja sanyamane, this control, well, this control is not only that of the individual, it's a control of the family life, the social life, the national life, and also the cosmic life. So unless you have a sort of a regulation, and for regulation we have to abide by certain principles which should be conducive to wellness. We call them as dharma. So dharma centricity is something which is foundational for the practice of yoga. We have in Patanjali yoga, in Ashtanga yoga, yamas and niyamas. This yama and niyama are the dharmic principles which are required for regulation at every level of our existence and life. So, if we do not have this sort of control, then always it will lead to some sort of egocentricity, some sort of uh, spread of vices, resulting in all sorts of discriminations, all sorts of uh, calamities and trials and tribulations. And therefore, through self control, yoga says that we have to transform our swa into sarva, our narrow individual existence into cosmic existence. We can enlarge ourselves. This is self enlargement, and the self enlargement, in fact, is self realization. So, this is what is the implication of Yuj Sanyamane, yoga standing for control, regulation. And this regulation is at the level of a body, at the level of vital breaths, at the level of mind, at the level of intellect, and also at the level of ananda in terms of mutual caring and sharing. And it is a sort of common experience by all. In poetic language, we call it as sadharanikarana in poetics. Sadharanikarana means co-sharing. And this bliss or ananda is to be shared by all, because ananda is regarded in our culture as the very essence, very nature of reality. And we have, for example, in the Vedas, propagation of Madhu Vidya. Everything is madhura, everything is full of joy, and therefore we have to enjoy, and we have to be joyful, and we have to enjoy the beauty of the reality. Uh, because our existence is that of consciousness as well as that of bliss. We say Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, Shivoham. This has been the metaphysical guiding principle. Similarly, when we talk of Yujir Yoga, it is to be reinterpreted in terms of collective enterprise. If you want that our imperfection is to be dissipated and perfection is to be realized, it cannot be at the individual level. It has to be at the collective level, at the cosmic level as well. So this sort of collective, it has been believed in our culture that we have a dependent origination but interdependent existence. Every existence depends upon another existence. No one has an isolated, unrelated existence. Well, this is what in terms of quantum mechanics, we say that there is some sort of immanent, say, teleology, immanent order, interpenetration of everything. And so this implicate order is there, and Yujir Yoga would now stand for a collective enterprise, so that all of us participate in the total wellness of every existence, animator as well as inanimator. And this sort of what we call in Sanskrit Sangha Jivana, a life of collectivity. Well, this is the, I would say, modern understanding. This should be the modern understanding of Yujir Yogi, sort of a combination of all efforts and enterprises. And the third one, Yujasa Madhav, is also very significant. So, Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. So Samatva means, well, we should have this feeling of Samadrashti, feeling of everyone being of the same nature. We share the same essence because we come from the same source, and the source is the ultimate reality. We may use the term Brahma for that. Sarvam khalu idam brahma. We may use the word atma for that. Is etat atma idam sarvam. Whatever name we say, well, there is one common source from which we come into existence. So this cosmic process is at once centrifugal and also centripetal. One manifesting itself into multiple, and the multiplicity going back to a unity. And this should be the proper understanding of samatha. We call it samatha yoga. It's a new form of a yoga that has come into existence, wherein we have a, practice of universal love, universal compassion, indifference to our narrow interest, and identification of the self with the totality. We call it as Brahma Vihara, and in the Patanjali, in his Yoga Sutras, talks of these four Brahma Viharas: Maitri, Karuna, Mudita, and Upeksha. Same has also been advocated by Lord Buddha in his yogic practice called Vipassana. And for this, therefore, there has to be a feeling of self-sameness with all, animate as well as inanimate. And it should not just be a feeling of self-sameness. We have to transform ourselves into other self, so that we feel one with the other and not separated or segregated. So thus we find that this idea of a yoga is very much uh, akin to what is advocated in Vedanta. Vedanta, particularly the Advaita Vedanta of Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya is said to have composed a detailed analysis of yogic practices. And the text is known as Yoga Sutra Bhashya Vivaran. Yoga Sutra is by Patanjali, Yoga Sutra Bhashya is by Vyasa, and that Vyasa Bhashya has been further commented upon a sub commentary by Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya, known as Yoga Sutra Bhashya Vivaran. It is well known that Shankaracharya, for the realization of moksha, talks of four requirements known as sadhana chatushtaya, and those sadhana chatushtaya are nothing but elaboration of the yogic approach to life and reality. So when we have a shama, dhamma, uparati, etc., among the sadhana chatushtayas, four ways of sadhana, well, yoga is built into that. And therefore, Shankaracharya was a great yogi also. Well, unfortunately, we uh, have not paid sufficient attention to the practice of yoga by Shankaracharya. But through yoga sadhana, Shankaracharya could develop that pragya, that pratibha, and on the basis of which we could have had the intuitive realization of the nature of reality, and could say that Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. So it's time that we understand the basic principles and practices of yoga in modern context for modern utility, so that yoga can be engineered to eradicate all sorts of differences, discriminations, deprivements, and conflicts, and so forth. Conflicts at every level, at the level of individual, community, society, and world at large. So, yoga, therefore, is a very useful and handy method available to us, handed down to us by our sages and seers. But we have to understand it afresh and make use of it in an innovative manner. If that can be done, then there can be definitely harmony and order at the cosmic level, and that will percolate down to the societal and individual level as well. So, my submission is that let us take a holistic approach to yoga, not confine yoga to mere asana and pranayam. It is advocated by Hatha Yoga, but Hatha Yoga is, as Hatha Yoga Pradipika says, Kevalam Raja Yogaya Hatha Vidya Upatishyate. Only to strengthen the Raja Yoga, Hatha Yoga has been advocated. And therefore, Hatha Yoga is not independent of Raja Yoga. Hatha Yoga is a part and parcel of Raja Yoga. First, you have to practice yamas and niyamas, and then we have to come to asana and pranayama. Then we have to come to pratyahara. They are known as bahiranga sadhana, the extraneous outer means to be adopted by the individual and by the society. Yamas are for the social order and niyamas are for the individual order. Both our individual conduct and social conduct has to be regulated by yamas and niyamas respectively. And there only thereafter we can have with this self-control we can have uh, enlargement of self from swa to sarva, from I to we, and we can have then the collective enterprises, so that the whole humanity is benefited by our Purushartha. And this is possible only if we have the state of Samadhi, Samata, healing of oneness with the totality. So, yoga, therefore, is very much useful. It is, I would say, a very convenient as well as most efficacious device we have received from our ancient seers and sages. Let us preserve it, let us protect it, and let us uh, put it into practice in terms of modern needs and requirements. It should not be associated with any particular sector or any particular religion. It is something which is universal in nature. It is something which has to be practiced at all points of time, of course, in different ways, because innovative reinterpretation has to be there. I'm of the opinion that no culture can survive and thrive if its seminal concepts, key terms get fossilized and do not admit of creative reinterpretation. And therefore, let us have this sort of creative reinterpretation and utility and use of yoga. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Sarbal. Thank you, sir. So, therefore, you have taken our discussion to its a higher level, as we decided, because you have very pertinently pointed out how yoga can promote and facilitate the evolution of Jiva from Annamaya Kosha to Anandamaya Kosha. It is a comprehensive vision of yoga. How yoga is only then yoga has its meaning in its ultimate sense. How this, because these terms may not be familiar to all, this Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Jnanamaya, Vijnanamaya Kosha, still, because those who are interested, they should learn it. But therefore, how this individual energy can be, ultimately taken or have its union with the cosmic energy, and how yoga in the modern context, how it can be streamlined in the modern context. All these things going through Patanjali, I mean Buddha, and all such eminent seers, you have brought out a very comprehensive vision of yoga in its totality. Thank you, Professor Sarbat. Our time constraint is there. Let me invite Professor Panir Shelvam. And Professor Panir Shelvam, and he is at present, he is the General Secretary of Indian Philosophy Congress. He was former professor of philosophy in Madras University, and moreover, and he is a very well-known philosopher in the sense that his critique of Indian philosophy is based on his contention that proper attention has not yet been given to the Dravidian cultural legacy in Indian philosophy. It is true to some extent. And because today I understand that he will make a presentation on the Tamil Siddharths, great saints, their contribution, especially in the science of yoga. He will focus, I hope, on that premise, and I expect that Professor Paneerselvam will limit his presentation to 20 minutes. I invite Professor Paneerselvam to make your presentation.
Thank you, Professor Gopinathji. Most revered and respected Guruji Dileepji, and my respected teacher, Professor S.R. Bhatt sir, Professor Gopinathji, my good friend, Professor Sebastian Vanacheri, whose birthday is being celebrated today. Happy birthday to you, my friend. And other colleagues and friends.
I also offer my congratulations and best wishes to
you. Definitely, we all share.
We all share, sir. We all share. First of all, I am grateful to Gopinathji and Dileepji for giving me this nice opportunity of sharing some of my views on this 27th day of yoga celebration. In fact, when I heard the lecture of my great teacher, Professor S.R. Bhatt, of course, it is always a pleasure to listen to him. And today he has very beautifully pointed out that how that yoga has been given to us by our great rishis and sages. Taking some support from Vedanta up to the present, he has shown that how it has got a relevance, and he has shown that yoga is useful and handy and given to us by our ancient thinkers. So keeping this at the backdrop, I would like to discuss very briefly with you the ancient Tamil sages who are known by the Siddhas. So I would be interested to discuss Siddha's yoga, which has given a unique place in the philosophical discourse of Tamil philosophy as well as Indian philosophical tradition, which path reunite within yourself. So let me tell you that Siddhas are revolted against the tradition. The tradition which was present or which was available in Tamil tradition from the 20th century onwards. So they were not atheists, of course, but their contribution is how a human being can have a direct relation with the Supreme or God. And the purpose of the yogic philosophy of the Siddhas is to emphasize that there should be innate change in the mind of the individual. This is what they have been emphasizing. And they say for this one need not go to the temple and worship God in the temple. Instead of that, the individual can build his own temple in the mind. This is what they have stressed throughout their writings. Now, let me very briefly explain the origin of the word, the Siddha. It comes from the word Siddham, for which there is no equivalent word in English. Words like Siddham, Manas, Buddhi, Agankara, all these are known as Antakaranas. Of course, it is Manas which thinks, and Buddhi is that which confirms, and Ahankara invokes the Munaipu. Munaipu means effort in Tamil. So it is claimed that one who has conquered the Siddham, that is mind, is a Siddha. So the word Siddhi means attaining or reaching. This means that one who has achieved or reached the state of Sayujya is a Siddha. So according to another definition, God is known as Chachidananda. Here the word Chit means omniscient wisdom, and the word Siddha might have emerged from it. And there is another definition which runs like this. It says, Lord Shiva is known as a Siddhan. There is a temple at Siddheshwaram. Our Professor Bhatt's full name is Siddheshwar Bhatt. Siddheshwaram, which has been sung by Saint Jnana Sambandha. Lord Shiva is also known as Siddheshwaran. So according to Tamil tradition, there are 18 Siddhas. Though there is an argument according to which the number of Siddhas are innumerable, generally the number is restricted to 18 because the number 18 has a special significance in philosophical discourse. This may be the reason for saying that the number of Siddhas are limited to or restricted to 18. And according to some, the list of Siddhas are more than 18, and there is a controversy, of course, with regard to the number of the Siddhas. Now, the word Siddha also means knowledge. So, one who has conquered the Siddham is becoming a Siddhar or Siddha. And let me say a few things about who are known as Siddhas. It is very difficult to define a Siddha. There may be wandering saints here and there. Even among us, there may be many Siddhas, we do not know. But normally it is said the Siddhas are against the worldly things. Some say that Siddhas are those who have controlled the Chitta, those who love Lord Shiva, and those who perform some miracles. But all these also cannot define the nature of Siddhas, though all these are attributed to the Siddha. And there are some Tamil scholars who argue that the Siddhas have identified themselves with God in the sense that they said that each and every individual can become God. And they need not go to temple to worship God because God is within ourselves. So this ritualistic practices or going and worshipping God at the temple is not a requirement. And among the Siddha tradition, it should be known that Tirumular is one of the ancient Siddhas. In fact, it is said that he is the teacher of Patanjali. How far this is correct is not known, but normally it is said that there are certain parallels which one can draw between Patanjali's Yoga Sutra and Tirumular's Tirumandiram, a text called Tirumandiram. Because he is a very great mystic and a seer, and the Siddhas acknowledge him as their supreme preceptor and as one who has conveyed the knowledge of yogic perception to all Tamil people. So according to the legend, Tirumular lived during the 6th century BC, but there are Tamil scholars who argue that he lived between 3rd and the 5th century AD. His message is love of God. And the love of God itself is the yogic perception, according to Tirumular. He says, senseless, I quote him, senseless, this is translated from Tamil, senseless are those who say that love and Shiva are two. They know not that it is love that becomes Shiva. The moment they know this, this will remain rooted in Shiva as love, that is Anbe Shivam. According to the legend, he was initiated by Lord Shiva himself. And there is a story that he lived for 3,000 years and all that one. But what is interesting is the way in which he has developed the yogic perceptual knowledge. I quote his beautiful verse, of course, in English. Mankind is one, and there is but one God. Remember, and please remember this well. Why be afraid of death? Hold fast to the Lord in your mind. He is your only refuge. There are fools who say love and Lord are twain. None knows that love is God, and God is love. Knowing this, all should live in God, and love appears in the form of God in each and every individual. And in the north side, we have various siddhas, and they say it is the number is restricted to 9. I'll give few names. Professor Bhatt must be very familiar with this name. The Satanadar, Santosh Siddhar, Adinadar, Korakanadar. These are some of the siddhas who are mentioned in northern side of India. Now, what is the contribution of Siddha and how they discuss the notion of yogic perception? Apart from Tirumular, there was another important Siddha by name Sivavakya, who is an important Siddha who is placed in the 19th century, or some argue that he lived in the 15th century. He condemned idol worship as follows. Very beautiful quotation. It is in Tamil, but I have translated it in English. You plant a stone, throw few flowers over it, and round it, and utter some mantras. Is actually criticizing the ritualistic practices. Can the planted stone speak when the Lord is inside you? Can the pot and the ladle taste the food it has cooked? This is a very important poem, quite often quoted by Tamil scholars, because this talks about the rejection of the ritualistic practices. Shivavakya was an expert in systems like Charvaka, Buddhism, Advaita, and unfortunately he was dissatisfied with these philosophies and became a Shaivite, and thus was assigned the name Shivavakya. According to some, he later became a Vaishnavite. But there is no proof for this. But it is interesting that he sang in praise of Lord Rama and Lord Shiva. His poems contain a lot of Sanskrit words like dosha, jnanam, anandam, akandam, jyoti, balar, nadar, nama. So all these words clearly point out that he has a good command over Sanskrit language also. So the third siddhar whom I would like to mention here is Pattinathar, who is placed in the 10th century AD. He described the human body as a blacksmith bellows which fan the fire of anger, or as rotating top whipped by the string of desire. Uh, this sage or this Siddha Pattinathar was more concerned about the union between the self of the individual and the supreme. So, like the Advaitins, the Siddhas also practice the unity between the self and the supreme. Another important Siddha is known by the name Bhadrakiriyar. who is the disciple of the Patinathar whom I mentioned, and who sings as follows. This is actually all the songs of this sages are very beautiful in Tamil. I have translated this in English. When will you burn? Sorry, when will you burn the Shastra, they falsify the four Vedas and get rid of sorrow by discovering the controlling center of life? So here, from the life history of some of these thinkers, some of the Siddhas, it is clear that they are against the system building philosophy. We cannot place them under any system of thought, but the basic source of Siddha's philosophy is in the spoken language of the Tamil, the colloquial Tamil, a claim which no other philosophical system can make. The Siddha's poems are written with an entire disregard for grammatical or elegant expression, says Professor T.N. Ganapathy. Professor T.N. Ganapathy is a well-known scholar of philosophy who has discussed the philosophy of Siddhas. In fact, he has written a beautiful book entitled The Philosophy of Siddhas, published by the ICPR, wherein he elaborately deals with the significance of the Siddhas in the 20th century. A deep study of the Siddhas would show that they were against the Vaidika religion, but they never declared themselves as materialists or atheists. One unique feature of the Siddha's philosophy is that they believe that one can live for more than 100 years by practicing the yogic perception. A great Siddha like Tirumular believed that both the body and soul are essential and argued that if body dies, the life will also go. Hence, one has to take care of the body. This is what has been stressed. One has to take care of the body, and thus one can make the soul a deathless one. Generally, the Siddhas do not accept the view that the human body is unreal or myth, though there are some exceptions. They firmly believed that the human body is real and one can have the deathless body, because the deathless body is one of the important concepts which is discussed very much in philosophical discourse. For example, if you read the philosophy of Saint Ramalingar, who is also known as a Siddha, of course, Professor Bhatt is very much familiar with this name, Saint Ramalingar. Saint Ramalingar spoke about the deathless body. And similarly, in the writings of Sri Aurobindo also, we talk about a concept similar to this. So for this reason, in Tamil literature, the word may in Tamil is used to represent the body. They argue that the Panchabhutas are real, and when the Panchabhutas are real, the body, which is produced by the combination of these Panchabhutas, must also be real. One important Siddha, which I have to mention here, is Pambatti Siddha. His poems are very famous, and he is of the view that the Siddhas are all powerful and are capable of doing anything for the well being of human society. So, though they were practicing yoga, they were all the time concerned about the well being of the entire human society. And he said, I quote him, we can establish justice in this world. We can make all the three worlds happy, provided we understand the other. In fact, our Bhatt sir just now pointed out how the concept of the other is very important, and how the concept of sameness or one with the other is very important. And this, I would say, is very much emphasized by Pambatti Siddhar. Though there is no proper evidence regarding the biography of this great sage, his poems are very famous among the common men. He was against the pseudo gurus. He asks us not to follow them. A real guru, according to him, is one who removes the sufferings of man and one who talks about a true religion. He also explains how to reach a real guru. In fact, he gives certain guidelines for finding out a real guru. A real guru, he says, is one who has understood the real meaning of the Vedas and who has gained the knowledge of the transcending the Vedas, and one who possesses the capacity of teaching it to the common man, and also who gives the correct meaning to the scriptures. So Pambati Siddhar stressed the importance of love in human life. So in all the life of the Siddhas, one can see how the concept of love is the nucleus principle as a yogic understanding. One who has no love towards others, just now Professor Bhatt sir pointed out, one who has no love towards others cannot perform good actions. They can never attain mukti according to him. He was vehemently criticizing the idol worship and said that a statue does not have a life. It is simply a stone, according to Pambati Siddhar. In another poem, Pambati Siddhar says that the real salvation does not lie in reading books. The four Vedas, he says, the four Vedas, the Shastras, the Tantras, the Puranas, the Agamas, and all the different types of books, all these do not preach the truth. In fact, he says they are only giving contradictory views. They cause a person to develop his superstitious belief. Hence, he asks us not to waste time on this. Then, how do we know the truth? He answers this question by saying that truth lies in rationality. Pambati Siddhar was attacking the caste system, which was full force in Tamil Nadu. He says that it is not for the rationalists. Those who have the human qualities will not accept these distinctions. According to him, those who preach differences among people in the name of caste are fanatics. His anger goes to the extent of saying that we should put fire in the caste of garbage, and that in a common place we should declare that the caste system had gone. One more Siddha I would like to quote, and with that I'll stop. This Siddha's name is known as Agape Siddhar, who compared the mind with that of the devil. In Tamil, we'll call it Pei. The salient features of this Siddhar is that all the poems are attributed to mind. That is, all the poems are addressed to the mind, and he sings that only to those who have delinked the feeling of I, the path of love is possible. In his talk, Professor Bhatt has emphasized this point not only here, wherever he gives lectures, he always emphasizes the concept of love and how the concept of I has to be dealing. And in the writings of Agape Siddhar, also it is very clear that the need for removing the concept of I so that the path of love is possible. If somebody wants to put an end to this birth, then he must be free from all evil actions. So such souls alone are free from greed. According to this Siddhar, those who follow the path of virtue will not make distinction among men. They will not accept the caste distinction. They accept the fact that all men are equal and all of us belonging to one community, that is a human community. Agape Siddhar was proposing the concept of unity and also the concept of humanity as a whole. This means he had a holistic conception of the society. He was of the belief that each and every individual is connected. Hence, we must have a holistic approach towards others, which means we cannot compartmentalize people. We cannot compartmentalize the ideas. There is a holistic understanding which runs through, and of course, this has been emphasized by our great sages and saints from the ancient time onwards, that is from the Vedic time onwards. And this is very much visible in our Siddha's writing. One more Siddha's poem I quote and then I'll stop. The Siddha's name is Kudumbai Siddhar. Kudumbai is the earring which one wears. Since all his poems are addressed to the lady who wears the Kudumbai, he is known as the Kudumbai Siddhar. In his poems, one can see the importance of yoga and jnana. And his attack is on those who make a great show while worshipping God. For all those who have realized the fact that God is Aruva, and those who have understood that God is with everywhere. That is, God is otherwise, according to him, known as Vettaveli. That is, he explains this in the form of a poem. He says, to those who hold the void as ever true, what need for the title deed? Ear-ringed lady, so that need. In another song, he says that one who has the yoga shakti cannot be reached by the Lord of Death, and those who have conquered death will not have any luxurious show in the life. So Siddha celebrate the body. This is one thing which you have to remember, and claimed that the body can be preserved. And of course, some believed in renouncing the body, but they are ready to discard the body for reaching the feet of a Lord. One more poem I give and then stop. One Siddhar by name Aluguni Siddhar, he sings as follows: the body is filthy, my dear, a salt pot it is. To get a new body, the prescription I do not have. If such medicine I secure, will I not leave this frail body and attain thy feet, O dear mother? So you can see how the 18 Siddhas among themselves have difference of opinion with regard to body. Some argued that the body has to be preserved, and some argued that one has to renounce the body. So in the life and teachings of the Siddhas, it is clear that the Siddhas were mainly concerned about attacking or rejecting the caste system and the ritualistic practices. Of course, they are not atheists, but they also condemn the pseudo gurus, and also they say that it is necessary for us to control the mind. And in this way, I would like to state that the Siddhas have a special concern for the common man. This is very important. So
Okay.
their main concern is how to uplift the common man so that he can also be liberated. By liberation, here we mean that how a common man can equate himself or herself with that of the Supreme. And I would say, in fact, that this is the philosophy expounded by Advaita also. So the unity of the individual self with the Supreme Self is the yoga, which is practiced in the Siddhas philosophy. So with this, I conclude, and I am grateful to our Gopinath Pillai and Guru Dileepji for giving me this nice opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Paneerselvam. It is very informative and interesting, especially those who are not much aware of this great parallel Tamil philosophical, cultural, spiritual legacy that coexists with our Vedic tradition. Moreover, we find that just like Buddhism, all these Siddhartha philosophies were a response to the post-Vedic ritualistic superstitious traditions which suppressed and marginalized the majority of Indians in terms of caste system. In that respect, I think that it is to be researched. It is already researched, but less, in a very lesser way, it has brought into the mainstream of Indian philosophical discourse. Therefore, your presentation make it necessary that these great, because it is just like a Buddha up to the grassroots level. They were addressing the people in their own language, and they were against caste rituals. They were demolishing all these deviations and distortions took place over centuries, thousands of years. So thank you, Professor Paneerselvam.
Thank you very much.
Professor Dr. TPS.
Namaskar ji.
Is it for me?
Yeah. Sir, please invite Dr. Rao, sir. Shashumar, sir, please introduce.
Yeah. Namaste to all of you. I am so glad that we are in the World Yoga Festival where we have a great speaker, Dr. GBK from Pragati Sudhama, my brotherly friend from Hyderabad, an engineer turned into a doctorate in medicinal biodiversity with a patent in medical plants, a practical living person with nature. I was there in Pragati for seeing the facility. It's a nurturing environment with no mosquito in the suburb of a city like Hyderabad, with a biodiversity knowledge park, a place for exotic stay, and a holiday where you can learn farming and health maintenance with a wellness center, with a research center facility where directly supervised by many experts in the field. And Dr. GBK Rao himself is there around. Because he believes two mothers are there in his farm. One is the tree, the vriksha, and the another one is the cow, the Gomata. A holistic, spiritual, Vedantic Indian tradition which is practiced with a total solace and silence and peace. A place for great meditation. Also close to the business and marketing, as he is the chairman for the Chamber of Commerce for agro-organic natural farm producers with value addition turned into production to market in South India. A mix of many aspects from farm to firm, a close associate of mine where we work together on the education aspect also. So much kind-hearted person, down to earth, a loving person. Dr. GBK, with all happiness, we invite you to share your practical experience. It is not just blah, blah, blah. It is the practical experience which he does, which he can share to all of us. Thank you. The floor is yours.
Jai Gurudev. Thank you so much, Dr. TPS and Gopinath and Dileepji and all other the eminent personalities in this particular field today. Yoga, that is 27th day of yoga, which we are celebrating. As per me, yoga, the karma yoga or hatha yoga are connecting with the Supreme Father, the God, who is no name, no form. That is a level of this. My journey, which I believed, there are two threats yesterday, today, and tomorrow: hunger and pollution. What is the answer? The answer is only one, which we found 1994. When I looked at 6 months to find the answer, the picture of Lord Krishna I seen. All around him, the trees, all around him, the cows. That is a Kamadhenu. We call the cow is a Kamadhenu, and the tree is Kalparuksha. The names are given such importance. They are Prana Pradatas and Arogya Pradatas. So I believed it, and without any chemical fertilizers, which we started in a particular 40 minutes drive from the Hyderabad, 2,500 acres, with all traditional herbs, which they like Hanuman brings that Sanjeevani mount, that is Mutta Sanjeevani, Sandhana Karani, Visalya Karani, Suvarna Karani. They're all, we lost the names. At least today we have 7 Kalparukshas, which Lord Shankaracharya is given. The Guru is himself is sat under the Kalparuksha, which is called Brahma Amrika. he confirmed this is the only tree is Kalpruksha, which is, we call that is, they are endangered today in India. The type of Kalprukshas, there are 7 types of Kalprukshas, Harichandanam, Mandaram, Kalpakam, which Kalpakam means all the Kalpakam. Today this plant is Kalpakam, 8,000 years existing, the plants in Amazon and South Africa. And we have India, maybe less than 100 will be there, but whereas in Pragati we have 4,800 today, which are plants, and saplings, thousands we are preparing them, because they are the London Food Festival. They said what is the best juice on the planet? They found this is the fruit juice is the best juice, and it has got the highest immunity capacity, because that's why today's any oil, if you say that what is the costliest oil on the planet is only this seed oil. And like that, everything which you want me in the presentation, or shall I speak? Narayan?
I'll start.
Okay, shall we go presentation? Is there?
Yes, I'll start.
Yeah. This is holistic and environmental health. Consumption of food habits decides the environment health. The environment health decides. If you are taking nanali or the coconut water or other fruit juices and all, what we grow is the farmers, they grow. Whereas if you take the Pepsi and Coke, nothing but chemical industries will grow. So the environment affects on what you consume. Unless we start change our consumption, how it is possible? Please, next page. This is the Indian Vedic life. Every one of us should know that what there is the original constitution of India about our rich Vedic heritage. This constitution of India, the given first 5 pages, you look at the first page, what it is, the sketch is given. Vedic life is not about any religion, it is about the way of life. The Vedas, which are the root of Sanatana Dharma, is our rich Indian heritage, which cannot be separated from us. Next page. Next page. See, this is the Constitution of India, which is the original constitution. What is the citizenship? Citizenship, they are given this part 2. You see the all environment, biodiversity, is seen that everything is the plants, where the ashrams in Vedic time are often amidst of non-polluted nature, where all 5 elements of nature are protected. Students in ashrams are taught taxonomy and identifying samidhis, which they use in yagnas. Without Vedas means our Indian Veda, yagna. Yagna means that is samidhi is required. These, before teaching Vedas, the Gurukulam, there the students, they taught the taxonomy, identifying the samidhis, which are vanamulikas. Next, please. They connect with the nature so that the nature will be protected. They see the 3rd page, the Constitution of India, say the fundamental rights. See, fundamental rights. Ram, Lakshman, Sita, coming from Sri Lanka to Ayodhya. Once you see the picture, whole Ramayana, where the Rama, how, is such a followed just the rishis. He never went any without seeing the rishis culture. The rishi, wherever rishi says, there he has gone. On his own, he never did anything. And the way with the father, the way with the brother, the way with the wife, the type of this Ram means that is when a cow is giving milk to the own kid, that is milk, Rama goes and he puts namaskar, like that, Then others, why the mother is giving milk to the child, why you are doing such namaskar? No. If she doesn't give, it becomes my duty. So my duty, she is taking care. Such living, what the king has to do, what our forests to be maintained, how the roads are to be maintained. Ayodhya means, that's why we call them Ayodhya, Madura, Maya, Kasi, Kanchi, Avantika, Puri. These are the names. Once you remember, it's not that chanting the name. See the Ayodhya, how it was, how is the Puri that time, the city life, the people, how they connected, how the family is marriage is very ritualistic. That is the what having in the our Constitution of India. We are not known what is as a citizen, as a fundamental rights. What we have. These pictures shows that we have to go as a Vedic culture. Next page, please. Next page. See, this is the one. What is the fourth? The sketch is given. Principles. That is the directive principles of the state policies. The policies of the Lord Krishna teaching to Arjuna. What is the Bhagavad Gita? Of one who is devoid of attachment, who is liberated, whose mind is established in knowledge, who acts for the sake of sacrifice, all his actions are dissolved. This is the ultimate goal. That is, asking the Arjuna, go and fight, keeping in mind that, you are not body conscious. You have to be a soul conscious. Being a Raja, being a king, you have to do your duty. That is the dharma, which is teaching. Such things when it comes to our children, if we follow how it is going to be. Next page, please. Next page. This is the Lord Natras. Is the Lord Natras. That is a per part. That is a seventh. Finance, property, contracts, and shoots. All these things connected with how this Natras is. See his music, sound, Damrakam. It is connected with so much. Unless we start with the Nam Roop, then we go to the next stage. Unless we control our senses, the five senses, without controlling five senses, you cannot feel, you cannot ekagrata, means the concentration will not come. You start with the ideals and slowly remove all this name and all. That is what energy, Chaitanya is there. You see that the type of knowledge which, if you understand Ramayana, if you understand Bharat, that is Pandavas and Kauravas, how they the fighting, how the dharma is ultimately winning any situation. Everything is a Vedic way of is being given. Who has signed this? Our Mahatma Gandhi signed this Constitution of India. Ambedkar is signed. Nehruji, all the great the people who have signed, we are not following, we are not understanding what today, if you say that, this type of pictures, if you put, is it Hindu? Is it Mata? All sort of things which are coming today. This is our everyday food choices affect global warming and environment. This is the one global warming. It is something which is going to, not only the viruses, the other things which are going to come. If the seed doesn't germinate, what will happen? If the capacity of the digestive capacity is gone into the soil, the way we are using chemical fertilizers, chemical pesticides and plastics and whatnot. See the next page, next page. This is what our habit today, our diet influences the environment. We are damaging our environment by growing foods. In commercial, these things we are shifting. Next page. Next page. Narayan. Eating green means eating green also means eating fresher, healthier foods. If not only reduces our grocery bill, but also supports our farmers. Because once we eat these things, the farmers will grow, the farmers will become rich, then the environment is protected. The whole thing is consumption. What we consume depends upon that. If you start using plastics, you are using chemical fertilizers, eat locally. Again, this is also like we are importing last 1991 onwards, not 91, much before, decade before, 40,000 crores edible oil, which is palm oil we are importing. Today, 47,000 crores is not reducing, but local, that is our Vedas given. Eat local, not imported things. Next, please. this organic food. Organic agriculture is a safer choice for the environment and our health. Organic food. Next, please. Narayan, fast. Growing vegetable. This is all what we grow here without any chemical fertilizers. And which is next. Active food, nutrition food, all this immunity system. Ancient food for holistic approach. This is for holistic health and wellness. Now, Jaise An, I say Man. Jaise Agni, I say War. Jaise Ras, I say Kun. What I mean to say, Manasa, Vacha, Karmana, Trikana Suddhi. The Trikana Suddhi will come. This is the what type of food what we are eating. That is Man means that is Manjit Jagatjit. Such a wonderful Vedic way of life the rishis are given. This unless we Mansa, Vacha, Trikana Suddhi. Suddhi, that means Pavitrata, purity. This is all whatever we are using. This is the spice box. What we have today, corona or any diseases, what spice box we have, if this is maintained. And the next is another is courtyard. What you have to grow in your own courtyard. These two, it gives you everything because rishis are given such a important like Nuvul Gani, whatever say, the type of names which have been given. These three important today's corona in the box. What we have the til, then avalu mustard, and mentulu. That is these the things which it takes care of everything. This is what Pragati which we have 2,500 acres with the almost 5,000 plants per head, whereas the Canada has got 8,900 and above plants, Russia 4,500 plants, America, that is the United States, 716 plants, China 102 plants, whereas India we have only 28 plants per head. This is where we have lost our environment, pollution, all sort of concrete jungle. This is what our that is Ayurvedic center. Pragati Sudama, the 24 doctors panel which they work in this, the type of the everything it comes into this, that is either Ayurveda, homeopathy, or Unani, Siddha, acupuncture. This is the next place. This is 10,000 square feet, and another next another 10,000 square feet for the other area is being given for the our Ayurvedic treatment sessions. This is the one where the entry. Please go ahead. Continue. These are all the people where they stay. Below this is 28 rooms. This thing below this, that is Pragati Sudama was there, and this is what the people live in the place, the villas. They have everything like Trimurtivanam, Panchivativanam, Panchibhudavanam, Navgravanam, Nakshatravanam, Rasivanam. This is the way the type of people here the cottages are there in the Pragati to have the. You don't find mosquitoes. You don't find. We conducted 82 marriages in this particular Corona time. 82 marriages means each room, three persons, another 35 rooms. Every month that is at least 8 to 12 days. It is being fully booked, but not a single any type of Corona getting affected here. Either 500 people who are working here, or thousands of people who are coming here and staying here. Not a single has got any Corona. That is what the specialty of this environment, biodiversity. It keeps everything. Please, next. This is what we call that is Jeshan before. We conduct every month 5 days program. Here the type of millets, what type of millets. If you use this millet, 300 liters enough for the 1 kg millet to come on the table. Whereas this paddy and goduma, wheat, it requires 8,000 to 12,000 liters. Whereas sugar, it requires 28,000 liters. 27,000 liters they are given, but per kg, whereas palm jaggery doesn't need water. Its rain fed is enough, which just 100 liters. Other oils, which these are all things which we are going to save because the water is going to be a big scarcity. As Tamil Nadu, always we see that when summer comes, for water, they close the hotels and also the offices. And such a thing, tomorrow, what is going to happen? Today itself is like that. So consumption, unless we change from rice wheat to our millets, and also from the sugarcane to our palm jaggery, and this instead of coffee, tea, go to the herbal decoctions, that is water, herbal tea, or the oils instead of refined oils, go to our cold press oils. We call katte ganuga, edula katte ganuga noon. Please, next. Pass, Narayan. This is what we prepare, all this this is our place. What do you know? How we take the oil, 5 different oils. Next. Health benefits, weight loss, cooling for summer, rich in calcium. This is the type of ambali we call ambali. Ambali means that the millet, which we soak for 10 hours and then dry it in sun and then make it into like a rava. Then again you cook it and make it for 10 hours. Then probiotic starts. That is the one gut feeling. Gut is the one which, if it is given this type of, then what type of benefits of Indian traditional cookware? All this cookware, you see this, we call that is clay, bronze, copper, ceramic. These are things what we used in the olden days. Today is aluminum, plastic, and nest page. These are the wood. What type of wood we use, even for the Kattiganuga, that is the Dirshana we use, because the anti-poisonous. Because why is required? Because any seed you are putting into this, when it is open up that top of the seed, that casing, which enters the bad bacteria, viruses, then becomes poison. That poison, this wood, Dirshana wood, where is the male, female, there it kills the poison, is the anti-poison. That's why everything, whatever is used, everything is connected with the wood, what type of wood. These are all decoctions every day we can use the type of one each for 7 days, and then this will create such a wonderful that immunity system builds up. This is we have 150 varieties, but we are showing at least 7. These are all very important, which you can see read later. Immunomodulators. These are all immunomodulators. That is all purulence means that is if you don't know the disease, use this ashwagandha, the root. That is like that, whatever we have, our immunity and enhanced by Ayurvedic herbs like ashwagandha. Then our which are I'm talking, these things are Adharvaveda is given, which is Tepatiga. Tepatiga means that is Guduchi. That is being used in the whole world. This powder is 1 gram is 1,000 rupees. But people don't know this. These are the kalparukshas, the type of 7 kalpa. Harichandanam, Kalpakam, Mandaram, Santanam, Parijatam, Bilva, Kadamba, the Kadamba Anuvasini. These are all, wherever these 7 plants are there, you are safe. You don't get any type of this type of mosquitoes or any other diseases. They're all, that's why they do protection about this plant. This is the one plant, if you know about today is Mangala, if we say Mangala, Kujagraha, that is Chandra is called Acacia Katachu. How they used it in the olden days. That is pan, which is tambulam. In that katta, kasu is being used for making buttermilk. From the curd to the buttermilk churning, this wood is being used. And also the Balram, there's the musli, we call rokali, which is used for making the powders, making the husk removing. That is the one being used. Even for chutney making, small wood, this black wood, this is being used. Most important thing is in villages, before, in the villages, villages, when the water is being to take water, it comes from the river, creeks and other places. Then bad bacteria, virus comes. That's why they keep that acacia katachu and also the amla. These two ones they keep in the water, in center of the water, that dry wood, they keep it, they put it directed. The water purifies. That water is the one which we have become genius as long as we are taking such water. So today is a mineral water. We call these plastic bottles, and again removes the mineral and take that is called. Everything is, we are distorted totally. We have gone into the wrong side of the eating habits and lifestyle habits. Next please. This is the next. This is the Artemisia vulgaris. The Artemis means is the Greek god name. You know this plant we use for the Ganapati. For Corona, this is the number one for the starting for if you have inhaling problems, that is the lung problem, anything is there. This is being used since 3,000 years, where, you know, if you want to cut the knife for the operation or tissue culture, the knife has to be flame heated and then put into alcohol, then it's sterilized. But the people 3,000 years, the knife that touch this leaf, it gets sterilized. Such important plants which we are kept as a Vedic, as a, this is the next is a Zulu Majpatri. This is the one which is, when it comes to a taste, when you lose the taste, when you lose the smell, these things, you know, this is the one kashayam we give, and this is the old age. So you arrest the old age, means 100 years, means 100 years you live like, you know, seeing. That is which, you know, the old age people, I can't see, I can't smell, I can't taste, I can't have the sparsh, I don't have the, this type of things which, you know, these are the things where the corona, when it comes, it eats away the glycerin in each sense. That sense, that protein is gone, lost. That's why these patris, these things which you take that with these patras, and also the till and mustard, it brings back that protein in that sense. This is the lavender marchpatri. When you go for the ventilator, that is the time you take this as a kashayam, you come out of that problem, which you know. Otherwise, today we are seeing, next place. We don't come out of the hospital once we go in. The endangered trees. You see, these are all endangered trees, which our main aim focusing, what we have lost is lost. But these trees, at least, you know, we have to multiply, propagate, and what we are creating, this is the what we are supplying to the forest department and also the universities, and all research is going on these endangered plants. This is the Somalata, which we made Egna, that is a Vajpayee Somalata Egna. This Soma, this is what we use. This is also is getting endangered, but in Pragati, we have abundance. But the outside is not available. Such a thing, if I say this value of this one, it will just vanish, because total overall the country, whole world, this is a very small quantity if it is compared to the consumption. That's why these are all things which a type of endangered plant, unless we multiply, we cannot distribute, we cannot tell the importance of such plant. Very important. So I have taken a long time. Thank you very much. It is my pleasure to everyone. The Pragati Sustainable Development Practices provided the only answer to the two potential threats of the world, hunger and environment pollution. That is people, including national and international biodiversity experts, knowledge this time, and acknowledge this time and again and again. Thank you very much. So now is taken. I may be exceeded my time. I do not know. So thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Shashimar sir.
You kept your time, Dr. Ravgar, and so much thankful for you to make this short notice presentation. I think living with nature is the best yoga. Living in the environment, being part of the nature is the best yoga. So we have to go from the Kali Yuga back to the Satya Yuga. I'm sure Amity University students and all is a right place for learning from practical experience. I'm sure Amity University is part of this activity. I was having a chat with the professors there. So I'm sure students will make use of this to learn better and better. Thank you. Thank you for
That
this.
is a great,
Okay.
but it is a very great thing that he could bring into our attention, this great experiment. Very great thing, but these are stray things in our Indian society. That is, it is where we need awareness, knowledge creation first in the people, awareness creation, because there the relevance of spirituality, religion, etc. in its right perspective, because we have all these around us. Nobody is making use. If you make intellectual discourse, no downtrodden people will come to this. Therefore, we need genuine transformation in the people through practical means of spirituality and religion. So I would like to thank you, Dr. Rabu, for your very, very illuminating presentation. Very, very illuminating presentation. You made us, highly knowledgeable in this respect. Thank you. So let me invite Dr. B.N. Shanda, Bhakti Niskama Shanda. He is the General Secretary of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute, Bangalore. He is a scientist, basically a scientist. And his group, I understand, is actively engaged in research, especially in combining this spirituality and modern science. A large number of papers and books he has published in this respect. And it is a noted spiritual center. Noted spiritual center. Every day they have several programs, this and that. So let me invite Dr. Bhakti Niskama Shanda to make her presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Gopinathji and Dr. S.R. Bhatt. And I express my gratitude and thanks for your kind invitation to.
Please stick to time. Stick to time. 20 minutes, please.
Yeah, my humble self. And let me share the screen. I want to be as brief as possible.
Just for small intervention, today we had a birthday celebration of Dr. Bhakti Nishkam Shanta just a few hours earlier. So we wish him the best and a very, very long life.
So we all join. We all join. Similarly, our Professor Sebastian Velasheri also has his birthday today. We wish to both of them all our prayers and a long life and a very, very meaningful life. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Bhatt and Gopinathji. So let me share the screen. So let us offer prayers before we begin our humble presentation. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jaina Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So I offer my humble underword to all my spiritual masters. So today, specifically, I am being asked to speak something about yoga. So I was, thinking to present something on science of tongue yoga. Generally, we give importance to so much about physical yogas and control of mind, all these things. But we often forget that tongue is the cause of all kinds of troubles that we are experiencing in this world. And what is the way that we can control the tongue, which is causing all kinds of difficulties to us in this world of suffering and illusion. So before we do that, we have to first understand what is yoga. Yoga is the connecting media between the finite and infinite through a process of self-introspection and meditation. So actually, finite by itself is incomplete. As a soul, if it wants to have some of its desires, or it wants to have some activities, it cannot do that without its higher help that is coming from infinite. So in our ancient scriptures, like Vedic scriptures, we have this science of yoga, and there are varieties of different yoga systems I explained. So before we go into that, we have to understand the three kinds of tendencies that we often find in this material world that we observe. One is exploitation, another is renunciation, and third one is dedication. So what is exploitation? Exploitation is those activities that the finite or the living entities, jivas, they perform without having any connection with the infinite, its desires or its will. So, like we are the citizens of a particular country, like India or USA, different countries. So, being a citizen of that country, we have to follow the interests of the country when we execute certain activities, and we should not go against the interest of that country's activities. If you go against the country's interest, and then it will be considered as something crime, and our freedom is checked. So the karma is something like that, that the living entities, when they are doing activities independent of absolute. Krishna bhuli sei jeev anadi bahirmukh অতএব maya tare de sansara দিল. By forgetting Krishna, we are doing so many activities. Bahirmukh means other kinds of desires. That's why we are getting entangled. That is, the karma is a kind of bondage. It can be punya or papa, two categories, pious activities or impious activities. So from the karma, we get some reactions. That reactionary plane, to avoid that, the jivas are very much tired of those reactions. To avoid that, they follow the path of renunciation. And renunciation, in the path of renunciation, there are two categories generally being classified in our scriptures. One is path of jnana, another is path of yoga. So the path of jnana means it is a path of mental speculations. Karmis, they are not having any interest in understanding what is the desire of the absolute, how can I satisfy the desire of the absolute. Those things are not there in the karmis activities. They are basically busy with immediate biological needs like ahara, nidra, bhaya, maithan, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But when we come to the plane of renunciation, the Jnana Marga, then they think there is something like God is there, and they want to know about God. Their aspiration is to know about God. That is Jnana Marga, and they want to understand it by their limited capacity, which is brain power, this mental speculation, mental power, mental speculation. So, in epistemology, in our Vedic science, there is prataksha, paroksha, aparoksha, adokshaja, aprakrita. All these levels of receiving knowledge are mentioned. Prataksha is the sense, direct sense perception. Paroksha means learning from scriptures or persons who are experienced, like sadhus, other individuals from their experience. That is paroksha. And aparoksha is some kind of introspection, and there we find the expression of Shankaracharya and his followers, and Gyan Marga, the Brahma, they search for Brahma. They want to know their reality as the absolute. The knowing is their interest, and being they are finite by their limited capacity, they can only realize this much, that absolute is something very vast, unknowable, and we can only merge into that absolute. That type of realization they can have is Gyan Marga. Then the next level is the yogis, like Gyanis, they want to know absolute. Yogis, they have a desire to see the Lord. So they are meditating in the heart, the beautiful form that is known as Paramatma. It is actually Khirodaksha Vishnu who expands himself as Paramatma feature in the heart of all the living entities. So that feature is there, and they want to see the Lord. But both of these activities have to do with their own desires. Jnanis wants to know and Yogis wants to see the absolute. But there is another level that is known as bhakti, and the bhaktas, they are engaged in science of dedication. They are not interested in just knowing or seeing. That is not their direct interest. Their interest is to serve, satisfy the interest of the absolute. What absolute want, what's the absolute's desire, and how can I fulfill that desire of the absolute by engaging myself in service of the absolute under proper channel or direction of the devotees. So accordingly, the destinations of all these, different practitioners, they are different. Karmis are perpetually entangled in getting many, many bodies in this world. There are 84 lakhs of species. They are there, they are entangled, and according to their activities, they enter into different species of life after leaving one body to enter into another body. And Gyanis, they eliminate their individuality by merging into impersonal Brahman, absolute. And yogis, they can attain up to the stage of Santaras. Like in the spiritual world in Vaikuntha, there are mountains, there are rivers, there are trees, there are animals. They are happy by just seeing the absolute. They don't have much, exchange, dynamic exchange, active exchange with the absolute. But the devotees, they are not satisfied just by mere santaras. They want to have an active relationship with absolute, like Mother Josoda here, trying to tie the absolute with the rope. So the advancements of the spiritual plane, they are classified in Bhagavad Gita, in this in aspect also, as Lord Krishna's message we will find in Bhagavad Gita. Yoginam api sarvesam madgatir antaratma saddhavan bhajate yoma same yukta tama mataha. So here Krishna says in Srimad Bhagavad Gita 6.47, and of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and in the highest of all. So many practitioners of varieties of yogas are there: Hatha Yoga, Raj Yoga, different types of yoga practices that we see in India, and now also it is very much popular in outside. But they don't know what is the ultimate goal of this yogic, different yogic practices. The yogic practices must ultimately culminate towards the interest of the absolute. What is the interest of the absolute, and how our activities must be channelized towards satisfying that interest of the absolute. So, I was thinking to introduce something about how we can go towards that kind of, connection, union with the absolute, with the science of dedication. So we can begin with a very simple process with this science of Tonga yoga. Actually, yogis, they try to introspect. I am not this body. I am not these senses. I am not this mind. I am not this intellect. I am not this ego. In this way, they go layer after layer. But devotees, they are also practicing bhakti yoga, and there is a very beautiful and joyful process by which they can overcome the plane of illusion. And here, one of the great acharya of Gaudiya line, Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he has said, Sarira avidya jal, jadendriya tahikal, jiva phele visaya sagare, तार मध्य जीवावती लोभमय सुदुर्मति ताके जिता कठिन संसारे कृष्ण बड़ दयामय कलिभारे जीवा जय सप्रसाद अन्न दिल्लो भाई से अन्नामृत पाओ राधा कृष्ण गुण गाओ प्रेमेडा को चैतन्य बताए. Oh brother, Krishna is very merciful to conquer the tongue. He has given us his remnants. Accept this nectarian food, sing the glories of Radha Krishna, and with love call out Chaitanya Nitai. So we have this tongue. Generally the tongue is attracted towards tasting so many things, but we don't know how this tongue is putting us in so many difficulties by those all things that we are trying to taste, that is entangling us in so much karmic things. So tongue is also used, and we are using it for speaking so many nonsense things. So that is also bringing us into so much reactions. So here Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, my dear brothers, Krishna is very merciful, and to help us, he has given us his remnants, which is very well known in Indian system, that is known as Mahaprasad. We cook those things which is offerable to Krishna, uh, those proper things that Krishna has mentioned in the scriptures, explained us, rice, vegetables, all those things without onion, garlic, and we offer it with tulsi leaf to Lord by chanting some of the holy names of the Lord. like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and other holy names of the Lord Hari are there. We chant it and we offer to him. And after that offering, we accept those remnants. And this is the practice is being done from ages. Every time in our houses in past, they used to follow this process. Somehow that process is missed now, and we are actually trying to practice a process like the food, as if we have created all these grains, all those things. This is for our enjoyment, and we are eating for our own purpose. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, if you eat those food without offering to me, they are all papanna bhakshan, means you are eating only sins, and you have to get reactions by eating those things because you have not created those grains. You have not created. This is not for your purpose, and you can only kill other living entities if you can give life to those living entities. So you cannot create the life, so you have no right to kill. Only you can do all this cooking of rice and all these grains, vegetables, everything as an offering to Lord Krishna. Then those sins are gone, and then those remnants, if you take, then it becomes service. So this science is mentioned in our scriptures. This science of connecting with the Lord within this loving relationship, and we have seen the glories of Mahaprasadam in so many holy places like Sri Jagannath Puri Khetra. There are so many pastimes we heard about those things. How great personalities they released, and fallen souls they also delivered by the grace of Mahaprasadam. And by taking Mahaprasadam, you get the strength to serve the Lord, and your thoughts are purified from all kinds of misconception, exploitation, renunciation. All these conceptions will go. That is the main thing. Your tongues must be used for releasing Mahaprasadam instead of eating some nonsense things. And always tongues should be used to chant the holy name, to glorify a Lord and his devotees, his abode. That should be the proper use of the tongue that our scripture says, not for any other purpose. We got this human birth and we must use the tongue for that reason. So generally people, they don't have faith about these all things, what is being told, because they are more busy with some other things like karma and gyan and other improper practices. And Bhishma Dev, one of the 12 Mahajanas, he has told something to Yudhishthir Maharaj before leaving this world. He told, Mahaprasadi Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Salpa Punya Vitam Rajan Viswasa Naiva Jayate. Those who do not have sufficient Sukruti, spiritual fortune, cannot faithfully honor Mahaprasadam, Lord Govinda, the holy name, or the Vaishnavas. So you can see in the society, people are doing so many activities, but they don't have proper honor for Lord's remnant, Lord Hari's remnants, and Supreme Lord Govinda and his holy name, and his devotees, Vaishnavas, because they have not engaged themselves and their belongings in the service of the Lord. Those who have enough of that, there are two types of Sukruti, Bhogunmukhi Sukruti and Bhakti Unmukhi Sukruti. Bhogunmukhi Sukruti means when we are distributing some clothes, some food, ordinary food, and some schools, hospitals, all these things you are opening, then you will get some facility because of those karma, so that you can enjoy more. But Bhakti Unmukhi Sukruti means you will do such activities which will satisfy Lord and his devotees and his abode. Then you will get bhakti, means the faith and devotion, all these things will manifest in your consciousness. So this is very important principle. If you see in the society, some people, they have, immediately they can accept this process because they have enough security to take up that. But some, they don't have it. So this is the difference. You can see even in the karmic things, ordinary sense, one teacher is teaching the same thing to all his students. Some students can easily catch things and some cannot catch. Teacher is teaching the same thing. Why they are so much difference in their way of receiving? Because their past karma does not allow them to understand in the same way. Similarly, the faith is also different based on their past, sanskar and sukruti. And these things are very, very important. That's why all the Vaishnava schools, Ramanuja, Madhva, and Nimbarka, Vishnu Swami, they have given emphasis of distributing Bhakti Unmukhi Sukruti to the souls in this world by engaging the Jiva souls in serving the prasadam, so that they can taste the prasadam. There was wide distribution of Mahaprasadam to the people in the society in past, but now that process is minimized. And also people were somehow by hook or crook they have been engaged in chanting the holy name. People go out in the street and they chant the holy name, and knowingly or unknowingly the jiva souls engage their tongue to chant this holy name, and they develop some taste in that way, and some sukruti manifest in their consciousness, and thus they develop faith on these all aspects which are necessary for the illusioned living entities. See what Bhaktivinoda Thakur has told, Sarira avidya jal jadendriya tahikal. See, our body is actually the network of illusion, and our senses are the enemies. That is throwing us into the ocean of this type of, Vishaya means material ocean. And among those all, what you can say, different, these enemies, this jiva, the tongue, that is, more dangerous thing. It is always tempting us to taste some nonsense things and say some nonsense things. So to win over that, Lord has given very joyful process, and if we can follow that, then that will be very much helpful. I wanted to give a brief presentation because the time is short. So I hope I have maintained the time. So thank you very much. Namaste.
So thank you, Dr. Bhaktins Kamashanda. So though it was not a short brief, but it was very, in the sense that this tongue yoga, that I not familiar that concept. But that concept, the underlying principle is that Mahamula mantra in this age, that is to be chanted, recited while one pursue his material life, I understand. But it is properly done, properly educated, because it is the hurdle. Because once we pursue this in its right way, it can purify our, inner propensities, negativity, and one can gain punya. That way, material and spiritual well-being can be attained. This way, proper dissemination and education, I don't think in spirituality, this is very much lacking. Such a correlation of this spirituality or religion with our practical life. Instead, highly superstitious and this veiled things are being practiced. So it is a very good thing that your institute has been doing, your spiritual center has been doing. I also understand. So much thanks. So,
Thank you, Balaji.
so let me invite Dr. Aditya Gupta, because we are running short of time. And Aditya Gupta, we know that he's teaching in the Department of Philosophy in Delhi University. And I understand he's a student of Professor S.R. Bhatt. Aditya Gupta, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And he's a very young rising philosopher, and he has, authored several books and very articles. And apart from that, he is very seriously engaged in some very national projects, very important national projects, so as to streamline Indian culture in the light of the contemporary world development. So thank you, Dr. Gupta. We invite you to make your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. First of all, I extend my thankfulness to you, sir, Professor Gopinath Pillai-ji, Professor S.R. Bhatt Sahab, Professor or Guruji is here, Professor Sebastian ji, Professor Pani Selvam ji, and Dr. Shanta ji, and Professor Rao ji, and other distinguished speakers and scholars. Obviously, in maximum 15 to 20 minutes, I will complete everything. The title which I wish to present on is Can There Be Signs of Meditation? By meditation, what do I mean? Let me clear that. By meditation, I mean that conscious thoughtlessness, or we can say in Indian terminology, we can say Sakshi Bhav, or the stage which is called witness stage. This meditation, the term meditation obviously has different meanings, but out of those different meanings, I have chosen one meaning which is considered meditation or dhyan in Indian context. This is not concentration. This meditation is not concentration. What I'm going to talk about. This is that conscious stage when I'm doing anything. I'm not when I'm not doing anything mentally or physically, and everything is happening at conscious stage. That stage is called meditation. And it's not the thing that it's a new thing, as Professor Bhatt Saab has told us that yoga and meditation has been like, part and parcel of Indian culture. In Shiva Sutra, this not only yoga, that obviously yoga has a wider arena, but meditation itself, the dhyan itself has been taught by Shiva to Parvati. 112 techniques are being taught by him in Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. We can read that. So it's not the case that it's a new that is why he is also called Adi Yogi. Lord Shankara is also called Adi Yogi, that he taught yoga or meditation to Parvati. After that, we find certain meditation techniques even in Vedic literature. And after that, we find that Lord Buddha, gave many techniques of meditation, though the term was different, dhyana, jhana, and later on in Japan, it became Jain. The same dhyana became Jain in Japan, the Buddhist tradition. And yoga, Patanjali, what did he do? He systematized all the streams of yoga, including Buddhist tradition, including different techniques of meditation, in one systematic philosophy, which is called yoga philosophy. And after that, also we find different, even in Shankaracharya, even in Advaita Vedanta, and Swami Shantaji was talking about Bhakti Yoga and other meditative forms. But I would focus my attention on that meditation, which is the stage of thoughtlessness, which is the stage of conscious thoughtlessness. Like when we are in deep sleep, the thoughtlessness is there, but that is not conscious thoughtlessness. There are certain techniques which are developed in our society, in Indian society, by which we can reach to that stage which is called dhyana, which is called meditation. Though the term dhyan in yoga philosophy actually is used for other purpose, mainly for concentration. But here I would take the modern meaning of it. Dhyan means meditation, like what yoga philosophers talk about samadhi level, right? Asampragyat samadhi. We have stages of samadhi, sampragyat and asampragyat. So when we reach to that asampragyat level, that stage is can be considered that meditative stage. Now, can there be science of this meditation? Means, can there be a systematic study of this meditation? The possibility of this systematic study lies there in one question, and which is very important question, which was asked in Upanishads, which was asked in Vedic literature, and even by Buddha. The question was, who am I? Main kaun hu? Who am I? What is my identity? Like if you ask this question to any Western philosophers, my identity, definitely they would say that I am not the body, because in modern philosophy, Descartes is there. See, I'm not a body, but I am the mind. I am the mind. So most of the Western philosophers, barring a few exceptions, they accept that my identity is my thought process. My, especially human beings' identity is thought process. Human beings' identity is that, by which we think, by which we analyze, and that is why he is called human being. He or she is called human being. But in Indian context, this is not true. My identity, and if by meditation we mean that thoughtlessness, and if Western philosophers say that I means thought process, I'm a thinking being, then in Western system, meditation is not possible. Because if I'm the mind, how can I be thoughtless? Thoughtlessness, if I'm a thinking being, I think, therefore I am, then but by any way, thoughtlessness would not be possible. So philosophical foundations of this meditation are given by Indian philosophers, and this is a science developed by Indians. It's not something like we should boast, but yeah, definitely they have discovered. They try to research on internal aspect of human life and consciousness. So Indian philosophy, when this question is asked, who am I or who are you? मैं कौन हूँ? Different philosophers try to answer different questions. But one thing is for sure, I am not the mind, nor am I the body. I'm not the mind, I'm not the body. This was a unique aspect in Indian philosophy that they declare you are not the mind. You are not the body. Now, who are you? Obviously, we have a different groups and different answers to that. Under one group, we have Sankhya philosophers, we have Jaina philosophers who said that you are individual consciousness, Jiva, that Purusha, you are that Purusha. There are other philosophers who say that we are negative. They say that you are not that, not that. But who are you? They would remain silent. Buddha would remain silent. That who are you? He would only say whatever you are just a combination of 5 skandhas, Rup, Vedana, Sangya, Sanskar, and all. So 5 Vedanas, 5 skandhas are responsible for your identity. But what is my true identity? He would remain silent. But on the other hand, we have other philosophers who say that, okay, I'm neither individual Jiva nor just Skandha or denial of Skandha. They would go one step ahead and they would say, like Shankaracharya, they would say, Aham Brahmasmi, I am that non-dual consciousness. So that non-dual consciousness has been defined as my identity. So to this question, philosophical foundations are there. I find that science of meditation is possible by systematic study of 3 schools, like the type of meditation I talk about. Yes, respected Shantaji has explained Bhakti Vedanta and Bhakti point of view. But here, by meditation, I mean exclusively that stage, which is a witness stage, which is a Sakshi Bhav, which is free from any attachment, which is free from any rag, which is free from any identity, either individual or social identity. So 3 different scholars can be discussed, 3 different schools can be discussed about the science of spirituality. Buddhism. Obviously, Buddha said that, your identity is just a mixture of 5 elements. 5 elements are being discussed here, and 5 elements are responsible for everything. So, Rup, Vedana, Sangya, Samskar, and we have a story in Nagasena, and that, one story is also there that he asked that, who are you? Then all 5 identities are being given, and finally nothing is given. In one of the suttas, Dona Sutta, in Dona Sutta, one Brahmin boy comes to Buddha and he asks, who are you? Such an enlightening person you seem, but who are you? What is your identity? Are you Deva? Are you a god? He said, no, I'm not a god. Are you Gandharva? No, I'm not a Gandharva. Are you Yakha? In Pali, Yaksha means Yakha. Are you Yakha? No, I'm not Yakha. Are you a human being? He said, no, I'm not even a human being. Then who are you? Then Buddha said, I am Buddha. In Dona Sutta, he says, I am Buddha. But Buddha, is it an identity? Buddha is free from any identities. Freedom from all narrow identities. That identity can be of mind, that identity can be of related to society, that identity can be related of caste or religion or this or that. Buddhahood means freedom from all types of narrow identities. But who am I? Who is Buddha? He remains silent. He said, no, I will not speak that. The same type of interpretation can be given in second school, which is called Buddha, that yoga philosophy. In yoga philosophy, we know that Patanjali systematized all streams of different yogic traditions. He took asanas as well from different schools of Buddhism and even meditation, and he took even physical asanas, so included everything. Even Patanjali was of the view that you are not the body. you are not the mind, because Sankhya philosophy, mind is the product of Prakriti only. Sankhya does not say you are the mind, you are just consciousness. But yoga philosophers say, yes, you are not the body. Yes, you are not the mind. But through mind and body only you can realize that you are not the mind, not the body. So until and unless mind and body both are healthy, you cannot go beyond mind and body. You cannot reach to that asampragyat level. So he included yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi, everything is included. Certain things psychological were there, certain physical asanas were there. Patanjali was of the view that you can cross these limitations, you can transcend the physical and mental aspect by making them healthy, by, like, if there is a problem in body, then you cannot go beyond. If there is a tension in mind, then you cannot go beyond mind. It is impossible. So yoga is basically like, yes, he takes philosophy from Sankhya school, they are allied systems, but he is ahead of Sankhya. When yoga philosopher reaches to a sampragyat level of samadhi, it seems that he is leaving the boundary of even individual consciousness. When he crosses the sampragyat level, reaches to asampragyat level, that time he says, no, even that individuality is lost. Even that, those narrow identities are lost. No, savitar, savichar, all are left out. So yoga philosophy also takes us to that stage where all identities are removed. The third school I wish to take is of Shankaracharya. If we want to understand this meditation, I personally think Nirvana Shatakam, as written by Sri Shankara Adi Shankaracharya, is the best text by which we can understand who am I, what is my identity, and what is meditation, which is called witness stage, Isthita Pragya stage. In Nirvana Satkam is basically a story, a dialogue between teacher and a student. A student was Adi Shankara. And then he visits Govindapad and he knocks the door of that cave. And from inside, voice comes, who are you? And in reply to that, Shankara says, Mano buddhi hankara chittani naham, nacha shrotra jibbe, nacha ghrada netre. I'm not the mind, I'm not the body, I'm not ahankara, I'm not intellect. You see that if we try to read this Nirvana Satkam, we find that he denied all types of identities. He denied all aspects of mind. Mano buddhi ahankara chittani naham. He denied 5 sense organ. Nacha shrotra jibbe, nacha ghrada netre. I am not the ear, not the eyes, not nothing like that. No sense organ. Motor organs are denied. Na karmendriya. And even panch dhatus, na sapta dhatu, na panch kosha, na panch vayu. I'm not 5 derivatives of panch dhatu, like physical aspect. I'm not this, I'm not that. Not only that, he even denied social identities, social responsibilities. What does he say? Na dharmo, na chartho, na kamo, na moksha. Then who are you? If you are not that, you are not this, you are not that, who are you? Shankara says, Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. I am that non-dual consciousness. Again, that non-dual consciousness in via negativa, not in positive terms, because positive terms can be given only when plurality is there. When consciousness is non-dual, when no second is there, positive language will not be possible. So Shankara says, Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. I'm that non-dual consciousness. Now, this is the best text to understand what the meditation is. Generally, by meditation, we think that I should focus our attention on any particular thing. Our human mind, like in Mandukya Upanishad, we find 4 stages of consciousness. Jagrata, Swapna, and Susupti. Our consciousness is always attached to this or that. Raga, Dvesa, na rago na dveso. Or to social identity. If anybody asks, who are you? I would say, I'm Aditya, I teach here, I have this body, I'm having 2 eyes, so much amount of money, or poor, whatever. These external identities are there. And I try to focus my consciousness on these external identities only. And that is why, like in the light of, if you see this philosophy of meditation, if we try to think mental dysfunctions among modern youths, anxieties are there, isolations are there, panic attacks are there. Is it not true that these anxiety attacks, panic attacks, and other things, these mental dysfunctions are because of narrow identities? Because of narrow identity, this person was mine, now he's not talking to me. This body was mine, now this is not looking beautiful. The money was mine, now this money is not with me. So all identities are creating problem in our mind, and these become the reason. This is a philosophical reason of all mental dysfunctions. So by meditation, which is beyond mind and beyond the body, means in Indian system, consciousness is not the product of mind. Consciousness is beyond the mind and beyond a body. So when we reach to that level, when we reach to that meditative level, definitely even mental dysfunctions can be cured, because less and less identities and more freedom from pain would be there, and even these mental dysfunctions would be cured. So what do we find? That this is the philosophical foundation, and this type of philosophical foundation, with the help of this philosophical foundation, we can develop a science of meditation. Scientists generally, we think, try to observe external world. They think that only object is the reality. But nowadays, in modern days, especially after quantum physics in 1964, John Stuart Well proposed a theory where objective and subjective combined world was proposed. And after various theories, like various scientific institutions, there is experiments are going on meditation. Amit Goswami's monistic theory or other theories are there. We are working on that. And by giving a systematic study of meditation, we can help this world very much, especially our youth. Okay, so basically, what I wish to say here, that there is a possibility of science of meditation, and by a systematic study, we can offer a systematic explanation of meditation, and this meditation can become part and parcel of our daily life. And many mental dysfunctions, we can reach to that stage, the sakshi bhav daily we can start with. So that would be the contribution of India to the whole world. With these words, again, I extend my thankfulness to Professor Gopinath ji, to all the audience. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you, Dr. Aditya Gupta, for your very informative presentation. And it is a very fundamental issue in spirituality and religion, the search, who am I? So very brilliantly you have addressed that riddle in spirituality or philosophy. And you rightly pointed out Western philosophy is unable to transcend that intellectual boundary. Whereas this I am not body, I am not mind, I am not this, therefore this meditation is an effective spiritual instrumentality to search who am I. So that it's a science you have very brilliantly brought out, and this need of systematizing various branches of philosophy so as to bring about a science of meditation. It's a very good suggestion. It is therefore, otherwise people have to search all the scriptures here and there to call out or to understand what is the true path, mentioned or in various scriptures. Therefore, this is a very good suggestion you have made. And thank you for your nice presentation. It was a very different presentation. Thank you. And now we have, I understand that some 5 or 10 minutes we can devote for if somebody has specific questions to specific speakers. In very brief way, we can have 2-3 questions or clarifications like that, because immediately after this we have to go for another very important program that they are waiting for the next program. Thank you.
Maybe Dr. Vinamra from Amity University is around. Vinamraji, Dr. Vinamraji. Any specific questions from Dr. Vinamraji?
Anybody else? Briefly. But your mic is muted.
Who is that?
Your mic is muted. Janardhan Menon sir, your mic is muted.
Yeah, I think Anna is trying to speak.
Anna, you want to make a question?
Yes, I would like to make question to Dr. Rameshwar Bhatt, professor. He spoke a holistic approach, not only intrapsychic level, also interpersonal, town, society, social, cosmic level. And now is question about samadhi. Which kind of level is very, very priority or important? All level, the same quality and importance. Maybe my question is not clear.
Did you ask this question to me?
Do you understand me? Do you listen to me?
The question is addressed to whom?
I thought Dr. Rameshwar Bhatt, Professor Siddheshwar Rameshwar.
Professor Bhatt.
Yeah,
If he is not here, I can ask.
Yeah, shall I answer that quickly?
Yes, I will be very happy.
Yeah, see, we talk about all the different koshas. I think there was a mention by Dr. Aditya also in the Panchakosha cleaning.
Yes.
So you have to be physical, emotional, intellectual, social, spiritual.
Yes.
So all the 5 levels are important. In Indian philosophy, Indian tradition, Vedic system, we have called Sapta Shuddhi, 7 different Shuddhis. It includes the words which comes out, Vak, Mana, Chakshu, Srotra, Grana, what you breathe, what you speak, what is in your manas, all that has to be clean.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Menon sir, you can put briefly your question.
Sir, I would like to ask Dr. Rao. Dr. Rao, who's given us very enlightening presentation. Now, I was wondering, if he has come across this thing, that the plants which are there in the vicinity of the area, the areas had their own occupations, and the plants, there were plants having the herbomineral qualities to cure diseases arising out of the occupation of the people who are that area. And that particular plant only will be useful for them. And the medicines made of other plants are exotica. They are not much useful. If you have any idea, if you can throw some light on it, sir.
May I? May I?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes.
The plants which are the local, that is even food, the local is the only one answer to, that is my presentation is already given. Local is very important, which is some of them you have to acclimatize. The power of the medicinal value, it is, it decreases, but it have the effect, but not to the extent what. And the second is, if you give the anywhere, even local plants, if you give water, if you give fertilizers, it is like obesity. The people who they are looks like a big size, but they can't have any. That is the energy. The same, the real medicinal value. If you want to have, you should not give any type of feed. It has to sustain by its own all weathers and seasons. Then only it gives more powerful the medicine. So what we have to understand, that's why the forests are the best source, which nobody cares for them, but it has to sustain by itself. The same thing, even while we are growing, we don't allow to give any other fertilizers, any other, it has to face all the calamities. Then it has got more powerful. Even wood, even teak wood, if you see any wood also, if you give more and more water, its size will become more bigger. But the strength of the wood, the structure of the wood, even the quality of the taste, the fruits, it is not at all. So always it has to sustain by itself. The plants are even human. The excess, whatever you give the food, is nothing but obesity. The same to the plants. I hope I cleared it.
Yeah. So shall we go to next program? Any specific question to Dr. B. and Shanda or Gupta? Any specific
question is there? There is one question somebody sent here on the chat. I can read.
Please briefly answer. Please briefly answer.
He says that I have a query. Dr. V. N. Santa was talking about aim, that is samadhi, mentioned in Bhagavad Gita and Patanjali Yoga Sutra as well. Is it possible to attain samadhi in nowadays? Please comment on this as well. So actually, the stage of samadhi, as people understand, that is not the real understanding of samadhi in the spiritual sense. Samadhi means when one is completely absorbed in the thoughts and love with absolute. Like for example, Srila Sukadev Goswami, who is the son of Vedavyas, and actually he was always in trance, and what is apparently happening outside, he is not perturbed by that, and he's not just sitting idly one place. He was playfully dancing and moving, and so many many amazing things are happening. And when he came to arena where Parikshit Maharaj was there, and so many sages were suggesting so many things to him. Some are saying that you should do some dan, you should do some punya, do some tirtha. So many things he was saying. But Sukadev Goswami told one very important thing: Ante Narayana Smriti. And everybody simultaneously accepted that, yes, this is what is the correct thing. So if we can absorb completely our identity as the servant of the absolute, by giving up all other identities, as some country or some bodily relations, or even desire for liberation and desire for some siddhis, all these things, if we can overcome and completely established for the satisfaction of the Lord, then that is the stage of samadhi that is being explained. Like Prahlad Maharaj, he was a small boy, but such gigantic demon could not make him afraid. Even though great demigods, they were all afraid, and they are serving in his courtyard, Hiranyakashipu's courtyard. Even Jamaraj, Indra, they were all serving there. But Prahlad Maharaj was completely absorbed and dependent on the mercy of the Lord. He was not at all affected. So such a stage can be attained if we can associate with such personalities and practice under their discipline. So disciple means who is under discipline. We accept their discipline and practice under their direction. And it is possible. We can also cultivate that type of consciousness. Consciousness cannot be manufactured by our own self. It comes from other individual who has that consciousness. That's what I can say.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Others can ask him directly through his site or channel. Thank you. And next, we have a musical program. Let me invite Amelia Rossi.
Yes.
Amelia Rossi for your presentation. And thank you. We have a very limited time. Please
Yes.
confine the program to the limited. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I request an Swami Suryananda Saraswati, Amadio Bianchi, who is the Swamiji responsible for the eccolo qui, Amadio. Perfect. So I pass the word to Amadio Bianchi, to Swami Suryananda for the...
Bene, volevo dirvi, I want to tell you that I speak English, but I prefer speaking Italian because it's my natural idioma. And Amelia Rozzi translate my words. So, io mi trovo nel più bel posto, in questo momento mi trovo nel più bel posto d'Italia, che mi trovo in un'isola in Sardegna.
At the moment, I'm in one of the most beautiful place in Italy. I'm on an island called Sardinia.
Mi trovo qui con alcuni miei allievi che hanno formato un gruppo.
I'm here with some of my students who they formed a group.
Il gruppo si chiama Surya Chandra Soul.
And the group's name is Surya Chandra Soul.
E saranno felici di offrirvi il loro canto attraverso il loro cuore, la loro bhakti. Lo offriamo al caro amico Dileepji.
And we are really happy and honored to offer with all the bhakti sense this event and this music to a dear friend, dear Dileepji.
E non solo, a tutti questi eminenti speakers che ci hanno detto delle cose meravigliose.
But not just to Dileepji, but also to all of you, to all of these eminent speakers who really offered us such beautiful and amazing words.
Lo offriamo con amore e semplicità e si tratta di un programma dal vivo, quindi non aspettatevi un grande audio. Stiamo qui dal vivo facendo e suonando con amore, semplicità e umiltà.
And we're really here to offer this music made with all our art and love. Do not expect a high quality sound as we are here live to offer this music to you.
Vi dicevo, siamo tutti grati a Dileepji per averci riuniti sotto il tetto della cultura indiana che tutti amiamo così tanto.
We are profoundly honoring dear Dileepji, who managed to gather all of us together under the roof of the knowledge and bringing us all the Indian culture as well to us.
Della cultura indiana fa parte anche il canto, la poesia, la musica, la danza.
In the part of the Indian culture, we found as well dance, music.
Prego questo gruppo Surya Chandra Soul di partire con il primo pezzo.
I request and please, dear Surya Chandra Soul Group, start with the first piece.
Prego.
quello che viene fatto qua viene fatto con amore, parte direttamente dal loro cuore. E i ragazzi sono quasi tutti insegnanti di yoga e praticano anche il canto, la devozione, quindi non potrete avere un audio perfetto perché stiamo facendo così improvvisando.
Okay. Whatever is been done so far is started from the heart. We don't have a high quality level of music, but we must say that whatever is been doing now is done right at the moment, coming from the heart. All the people that you're seeing and they are performing, most of them are yoga teachers too, and they do practice chanting and dance too.
Ora passiamo al secondo pezzo e invito Surya Chandra Soul di offrirvelo come hanno fatto finora attraverso il loro cuore.
And now we go to the second part, the second piece, and I request the Surya Chandra Soul to begin with their heart to offer this chant for us. Please.
Thank you.
Dopo la pratica in questi momenti così difficili dell'umanità, la pratica di emozioni deleterie per la nostra salute come la paura, la rabbia e la tristezza, il canto può aiutarci tanto a ritrovare la gioia di vivere.
After these very intense moments where we were living emotions like fear, after this very intense practice of fear, doing a practice in the chant, singing, can really help us and relieve and despair all these bad emotions, and can lead us to live again in joy, to feel again the joy of living.
E ora, pensando che l'amore possa raggiungere ognuno e tutti i luoghi della terra, vi offriamo l'ultimo nostro pezzo.
And thinking and living that love can reach every single corner in the world, we then offer you this last piece.
nel ringraziarvi per averci ascoltato e per averci permesso di condividere questa cosa con voi. Prego, Ami.
Saying, first of all, thanks to all of you to have followed us here and to have allowed us to share this program with you today.
Voglio condividere con voi le parole che conoscete di questo famoso sloka, perché mi sto augurando che l'umanità ritrovi la sua salute, il suo benessere e l'amore di cui ha tanto bisogno.
I want to share the words of this sloka as the world really needs to find back its health, wealth, and harmony.
Sarvesham swastir bhavattu. Sarvesham shantir bhavantu. Sarvesham purnam bhavantu. Sarvesham mangalam bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you to all. Dhanyavad.
That was wonderful, beautiful, great, unimaginable. You have covered all the main mantras. Really loved it so much.
So very, it was celestial. It was a celestial, music, something amazing, and we all got enmeshed in total peace and tranquility on hearing this. Highly amazing, as Dr. TPS suggested. Amazing. And
thank you for your kind word.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Loka Samastha Sugino Bhavantu.
Yeah.
Om Burbhuvaswahat Tat Savitur Varinyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Oh son, you are enlightening everywhere. But please come inside me and enlighten me. What a great message, no?
Yeah, it is great.
Maha Mrityunjaya is also wonderful and beautiful.
Yeah.
Good, great.
Thank you, thank you. Dhanyavad, Dhanyavad, thank you.
So anybody wants to make any observation?
Any more comments? Anna want to speak?
Any observation? Please make.
Anna, any comments? Boss sir, any comments?
Regarding this program, it was a wonderful program, very beautiful. It was very beautifully done. They combined this music plus dance plus bhakti also. It was wonderful, really wonderful.
Boss sir, all the lectures have gone into dust when the song came in front, right?
No, everything has got its own value.
Okay.
Always songs focus. It gives us
some light also, Gopinath sir. Don't become very serious. Life is to become small jokes in life.
But the jokes, others may not be able to.
Everybody understands in that same way.
See,
they have good heart, they understand everything.
Shashumar sir. The thing attracted me much is it was the last event because I liked. I am more associated with the cultural events, and I will be happy with seeing all these things. And it was very perfectly done. It was very perfectly done.
Song has got a great ability to get into your heart. It comes from the heart, not from the
really.
It goes from heart to heart. So it makes a lot of meaning.
Okay.
So anybody else wants to make any observation?
I just want to say,
please.
Hello, namaste.
Namaste.
Because of the music and the chanting of the mantras that we really love, and we are really, when we're chanting by heart. And because I have to go and I don't have so much time to stay more, I would like to say the
Mrityunjaya. Mrityunjaya.
Mantra. Yes. And say goodbye and see you again whenever you are invited us. I don't know if you have a program for the next week or next Saturday and Sunday. Okay. So can
Tomorrow, excuse me, tomorrow we are
Yes.
having our cultural program of Golden Talents. I personally, on behalf of Guruji, I am inviting you all to attend tomorrow's event
time?
at 7:30 to 10:30.
Yes, I
In
have
India.
a class, a yoga class. I will
Okay,
not be able tomorrow. Tomorrow is a working day.
working day.
And
Okay.
maybe we will see for if you have the next days. We will be informed. Thank you so much
Okay.
for inviting us. And Amadio, you are a shine, really a shining heart from Europe to India. And all the group, the Italians, they are so much, they love music, and you are perfect, really. It was amazing, really. Thank you so much. So let me say, because I have to go, okay? Okay.
Thank you.
Trayambakam yajamahe sukandim pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva bantanat mrityor mukshiyamamritat Om Trayambakam yajamahe sukandim pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva bantanat mrityor mukshiyamamritat Om Shanti 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 Hari Hari Om Tat Sat.
So thank you all. Thank you all.
Very
And we are waiting for tomorrow's program. As Bosar has invited you all, convey this message to others also. Today will be a very, a wonderful day because of a very diversified, very programs Mr. Bosar has arranged. So I hope all will join tomorrow. And with this, I hope we can finish today's program. Shashumar sir, shall we finish? Okay. Okay, thank you all. Thank you all for your kind, great participation and making this event a great success. Thank you all. Gabriel.
Gabriel need to unmute. Gabriel ji, you can unmute, yeah.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, we have finished today's program.
Yes. Thank you so much. God bless. Hari Om.
Thank you all. Thank you.